Well, okay then. There's a Season 1 League of Legends cinematic now. It's 1 minute and 44 seconds long, which is seems a bit short. One of those, but I guess it's just to kind of wrap up the season, essentially. It's got some Dark Rose LeBlanc stuff going on, so yeah, sure, I'll react to that. Why not? Let's see. Ooh, Atakan. They're continuing on that. Okay.
The first lands.
Ionia is but a doorway.
Yes, come claim your prize in my world.
Listen to your puppet, LeBlanc. Besides, you have no host. And even if you did, the new Grand General would never approve another campaign in Ionia.
Okay. All right, okay, that... they're doing something with Atakan here. Oh, I do like that.
Losing our host was an unfortunate turn. As for the might of Noxus, it won't be necessary. A single whisper can cut deeper than 1,000 blades.
To Ionia, then.
Indeed. Okay, so we're setting up... So where are they going in the canon here? Because... Old canon. Borum Darkwill launched a disastrous invasion of Ionia. Swain was a general in that conflict, lost his arm, got his ass beat by Aurelia when she was 14. That's very funny. Bunch of shit happened. Then, in the aftermath of that, Noxus pulled back from active conquest in Ionia, but still held a lot of territory there. That's where Seth grows up as like a child in one of those Noxus-occupied territories. That's where we get Syndra being released, because the monastery that she's trapped in is attacked by anti-Noxus, like, political radicals who hope that by unleashing Syndra, they gain a powerful weapon against the colonization of Ionia, which, you know, Syndra doesn't really care about that so much, so that was a bad idea. It's what sparks the conflict between Shen and Zed, right? Like, that leads the two of them to falling apart. Zed forms the Order of Shadows. It's like everything that happens post-initial invasion of Ionia. And then now they're sort of pointing towards doing the reconquest of Ionia, essentially. Which is, okay, like, because that's definitely something that's been hinted about with Swain, that, like, he has territorial ambitions in Ionia, or had at one point territorial ambitions in Ionia, because he needs something, some kind of magical artifact or whatever that's on Ionia for something or other. So how do they... So how does that fit in with what they're saying here? Like, is this about the Black Rose trying to actually foment revolution in Ionia? That seemed to be the implication. Like, LeBlanc, the whole, like, one word cuts deeper than 1,000 blades thing seems to me to be an implication that she's going to spread some kind of rumor or start some kind of scandal or do some kind of political machination thing in Ionia to spark a renewed conflict in that land that will allow the Black Rose to something. It's also interesting that she speaks about losing her host. Singular host. Which presumably this would be the apparition that Mel managed to undo at the end of Arcane. Unusual for LeBlanc to have only one host, I would say. Anyway, let me just have a look at... I mean... I didn't check, but presumably it is Fortiche doing this again. I should turn off the audio scrubbing before it drives me completely fucking insane. And you as well. Boop. Just like classic Fortiche technique, right? Offsetting the animation frames. So each bit of this slime is animated on twos, which is to say it's animated every other frame. And then you can see how they're alternated. And that helps give... that helps give it that, like, real sense of, like, goop and viscosity in a 3D environment. Because, like, each offset bit of animation, like, fills in, like when you're animating on twos, obviously there's a gap where nothing's happening, right? But by animating each individual part on twos, you can see how they fill in the gaps in movement, so everything feels like it's moving on ones without having to do the movement on ones. And it's like, look at the goopiness of that. Like, this feels like some of the same animation techniques they used for the smoke in Arcane. And I'm not sure about the compositing, like, because the goop in here, something about the dimensionality on it feels like parts of this are 3D. And then over top of that, like these like protrusions, but that rotating center feels like maybe that's a 3D object and they're animating like 2D bubbles over top of it somehow, or rotoscoping it maybe? I mean, whatever they're doing, it's really working. That's the goopiest goop I've ever seen. Oh, they're doing something interesting with Atakan as well. Right, like, so this, like, Atakan is this sort of flesh monster now, rather than being sort of a shadow beast as we've seen him before. Look at what they're doing with the way the skin on the hands undulate. And the way, like the hand isn't, he's not like shaking, right? It's not a thing of like he's clenching so hard that his hand is shaking. It's not that. It's more like his whole body, even though this is flesh and bone, his whole body moves like it's all liquid, right? Like it's all slime. And that's all achieved by, like, you can see that wave motion that goes through his hand, right? The way that, like, those waves seem to sort of flow through the knuckles and the whole... Oh, that's good. Okay, so what do we have here? An eye. And LeBlanc and Vladimir managed to interpret this as Ionia, but presumably that's where the petals are coming from. Those are like a very common signifier of Ionia. There's something Ionian to the shape language here as well. Lots of demonic script over it, so what about that one eye? That's not Syndra, is it? Like a little bit with the crown? No.
The first lands.
I still don't like the voice for Vladimir a little bit.
The first lands.
On the other hand, there's something to him having a slightly the first lands. A slightly sort of little more rough-edged arrogance. I don't know.
Ionia is but a doorway.
Yes, come claim your prize in my world.
Oh, there's a voice that's gonna give someone palpitation.
Yes, come claim your prize in my world.
Now here's the thing, Atakan. He was a demon of what? Bringer of ruin, right? But like, what does he feed on? Because I don't think that was revealed, was it? Just feeds on carnage, I guess. Fueled by betrayal and rage. What's the source on that? Aha! Right. The comic. So I have not been keeping up super much on League of Legends lore. And that was part of the minigame, the Demon's Hand game thing, and they put comics up and stuff. Okay. So he feeds on betrayal, which, of course, like, then it makes sense that he would, like, then, first of all, it makes sense that he would, like, LeBlanc would have a powerful hold over him. That's kind of her bread and butter. And also that he was like, yes, come claim your prize in my world so I can betray you.
Listen to your puppet, LeBlanc. Besides, you have no host. And even if you did, the new Grand General would never approve another campaign in Ionia.
That's the other thing about timeline, right? Like, the new Grand General, this, like, implies that we are very shortly after Swain taking power from Boram Darkwill, right? So this is, like, relatively briefly after Swain has claimed his own demonic pact with Raum. Like, that cannot have been very long ago. Which means it cannot have been that long since the invasion of Ionia. Ultimately, which means I wonder, like, would Zed have had time to grow up yet? Surely he must have. Would he have had time to become the crime lord of the Ionian underworld that he becomes? Probably yes. Would they have had time to mount that failed attempt to rescue Syndra? Like, how far would Zed and Shen be along in their storyline? Like, is the comic they had where they, like, joined forces again to try and track down and capture Jin, would that still count? Has Zed taken full control over the Brotherhood of Shadow yet? God, I'm so annoyed that they fucking decided to retcon everything with Arcane, because now I don't know where anything fits anymore. Now, let's have a look at that Atakan in the background, because... oh, that's cool. Like the little focus trick that they're pulling on him. Right? Because, like, you get this sense almost as he's, like, swaying there in the background. It's like he's behind glass a little bit, right? It's almost like he's being projected onto a screen on the wall behind LeBlanc. He looks flat, right? He looks like he's not quite three-dimensional. And that's all in the way they're handling the focus of the camera, like, so that LeBlanc and Vladimir are completely in focus, right? Fully front and center. And Atakan is like a rear projection in a window, like an old-timey movie where someone drives a car, right? Shut away from the action. Even as he does, like, this little, like, release me, like he's trying to assert himself, the cinematography itself keeps him trapped in the background. That's very, very good. I really like that. Because, like, that also is, like, Vladimir and LeBlanc do not care about him at all, right? Like, they're not worried. They're not concerned. Like, oh, he's angry. Yeah, fuck it. Like, he's a demon. He's a pet. He's nothing. He has no power. We're not worried about him. He's not part of this conversation, right? And that's a very good way to establish, like, their casual relationship with the power that they wield. And, like, establish them as villains, like, scary villains that'll be difficult to deal with.
The new Grand General would never approve another campaign in Ionia.
They're also doing something with blur on Atakan, right? As he does this rapid motion, like, I have done your bidding. Yeah, look at that. Like, there's definitely, beyond just blurring him, there's definitely something else going on, because you see the doubling and the trailing of, like, his glowing eyes as he's stomping his hand down there. Like, there's definitely a lot of interesting post-processing visual effects being used to render this particular effect with them.
Approve another campaign in Ionia.
He spits in her face, basically. And I do like the little thing that we don't get to see what she says to him, right? I like that. That's very good. Like, that's good intrigue. And now again, they're definitely doing some visual effects stuff with him. Yeah, you can see it. Like, they're blurring, they're doing after images. They're rendering, like you can see here, this bit, they're rendering that bit. They're doing the same thing. Like, they're doing the same thing they did with the slime, right? Like, where they're animating one bit, then the other bit on differential timings, and, like, animating what seems like basically, like, animating a second version of him over himself, it looks like. Yeah, like, leaving after images behind him so that when he moves, it has this deep sense of weirdness and unreality that really combines very well with the anatomy they're giving him, like this slimy flesh snake with too many hands, and like the way, like, look at the way they're posturing his hands even as he's going. Like, these are not human hand postures, right? Like, these are not how a human being, when they have their hand flat on the ground, that's not how we do it with our fingers. We don't have one finger and then all the other ones, like, really sort of far away, like a freak-ass Vulcan salute kind of thing. Nor is this, right? Like, when you're slamming your hand into the ground, you don't have a dinky little finger sort of poking up from it. Nor is that a normal way. Like, really fucking fully on the AI-generated vibes a little bit with Arakan here. That, like, you're looking at something that occupies a vaguely human shape, but does not actually have a human anatomy. And holy shit, there's a lot of cool shit going on with the animation of this guy. This is the danger of Fortiche. This is the horror of them. Right? Is that I've sort of been actively distancing myself from a lot of League of Legends lore for ages. I knew LeBlanc got an update. I haven't read it. I didn't want to, because I don't want to get myself hooked back into this shit. I'm trying a little bit to divest myself from League of Legends, outside of my skin reviews and the lore and the world, because of my feelings about the way Arcane ended and the way that Riot has indicated, look at the fucking smearing, that they're going to handle the lore and the story of the game. I'm so tired. And I don't want to invest my heart into this again, because I'm going to be disappointed, and that's happened too many times with Riot. But this is the horror of Fortiche. I see this shit going on, and my character design brain just goes, oh, hey, oh, look at this character design. Oh, look at what they're doing with the animation. Look at the way he bends. Look at the way he's like liquid made almost, of like the way that the hands is sliding around their own axes as they're like gliding across. And then, then I'm right back in it. Then like an addict getting another hit. And they maintain that effect too, like, as he's charging up on LeBlanc here in the background. Like, he's charging at her, right? He's coming closer and closer, but you just don't get the sense of that, right? You don't get the sense that this is someone who's in the room with her who's coming closer. It's more like the projection on the rear wall is just getting bigger, but not actually closer. Nothing he does as he's, like, reaching forward reaches into LeBlanc's space at all. He's trapped in this flat projection. Both, like, visually and then eventually snap, literally. Man, if they only, like, if they just let Fortiche, how about just let Fortiche do all of the character designs for everything from now on, right? If you did that, but that wouldn't do anything either. It's, like, Riot's business decisions indicate to me very clearly that they have moved past the point of seeing League of Legends as a viable prime product, like a prestige product for their company. They're very much throwing that area of their creative resources going entirely into, like, the whatever cinematic universe that they're trying to develop, and, like, good on them, I suppose. But it's again, like, I'm watching this cinematic and I go, holy shit, that's an amazing, incredible character design. And I know that if they ever turn Atakan into a champion, which, you know, not exactly an outside chance that that could entirely happen, right? That they decide to turn Atakan from a map feature into a champion. He won't look like this. He won't be this cool. He won't have all this shit going on. They won't do all these cool things. They'll do what they did to Mel, right? Which is like shape the character into a shape that can be used to sell a fuck ton of gacha skins. With that specific design aesthetics, hyper focus on like appeal, beauty, coolness, like sort of like surface level aesthetic beauty, rather than all of the interesting parts of character design, which tend to be the bits that aren't so pretty, that don't line up, right? The way they're rendering his face here, like that's his mouth, right? Like, oh, and the deformation on it, and the little after image effects things as he's like grasping for her. And you really do get the sense, right? Like, again, is that thing about that wall, that what he's come up against here, it's not just that she's restraining him around the neck. Whatever he's running up against here, he can't reach past it, right? Like, he can't reach his hand in and try and attack her. There's an invisible wall between the two of them, and Atakan cannot breach it. Oh my fucking god. Again, with the spider fingers, holy shit. Also, just the effects on... Look at that. Like, that's a combination of, like, there's definitely some 3D visual effects in here. Some 2D animation is happening on the back. I really genuinely cannot tell. Like, all of this smoke flowing down his form, I'm reasonably sure that's a 3D effect, right? Like, that's a 3D generated effect. Then underneath that, they have a bunch of what looks like hand-animated bubbling and, like, swirling of various elements. Beneath and over top of that, like this swirl here that's sort of going to circle his arm and then dissipate away. That one, hand-animated, and then a bunch of the smoke isn't. And then on top of that, you can see how they're, if you pay attention here, how there's this periodic blurring, right? Like where they're doing the after image overlay effect thing to sort of blur his movements out from each other. To keep his form... Shit, clicked wrong. To keep his form constantly shifting and like immaterial and just a little bit unphysical. Again, those fucking spider hands, man. Look at that. Like, look at the way they move. Look at the way they pose. Like, that's not hands with bones in them, right? Those are wobbly little sacks full of goop, is what they are.
Losing our host was an unfortunate turn. As for the might of Noxus, it was...
I do also like that Vladimir... Like, well, I don't know if I like it. Like, it's fun in the scene itself. But again, it's that thing I talked about with the relationship between the two of them, which is like, I don't know that I like that Vladimir is second banana. I don't know that I like that. I don't know that I like that Vladimir is the one who's like... on the back foot with LeBlanc all the time, in the sense that LeBlanc constantly knows that she has perfect control over the monster. Vladimir is the one who, like, freaks out and is surprised and scared and, like, brings up his magic and is ready to fight, right? Like, because he's not quite as confident as LeBlanc is. He doesn't know quite as much as she does. He's the one who's there to be the doubting Thomas, right? Who's there to say, well, there's no way that plan is going to work. The Grand General will never approve another campaign. This is a dead end. Leave it alone. And then LeBlanc is the one, no, actually, you see, I have a secret plan and I know something that you don't, Vladimir. Oh, because I am LeBlanc and I know everything, right? Like, that's the storytelling, is this storytelling of not co-equal partners, right? Like, LeBlanc is the one who's in charge. Vladimir is at best like her vizier or something, right? Like her advisor who can give her advice, but who's never quite as in control or powerful as she is. Never knows quite as much as she does. Never is quite as competent as she is. And I don't know that I like that dynamic for the two of them, because again, classically in the lore, the idea with Vladimir and LeBlanc is that they are two ancient beings of roughly equal power, right? Of roughly equal life experience, who know about as much as one another about like their specific fields of expertise, who collaborate because it's mutually beneficial to the two of them, right? And Vladimir doesn't care that much about the whole preventing Mordekaiser's return thing. Like he's not really invested in LeBlanc's ideological movement, and LeBlanc doesn't really care that much about Vladimir's like deep dedication to like eternal Dorian Gray hedonism and like his constant need for self-reinvention, but those things don't conflict with each other, and so they collaborate, right? I like it when they are equals in that way. And so far, we haven't seen any of that. We have only seen Vladimir as second banana. Now, that could change, right? Like, that could change when we enter Vladimir's spheres of competence, right? Like, when the story at some point takes us into a space where Vladimir's expertise counts, where his agents and where, like, it's his... Like, all of this demon manipulation, that's definitely more LeBlanc's deal, right? Whereas Vladimir, it's blood magic. It's, like, high society parties and balls and, like, the social game and, like, using and abusing people on a personal level, where LeBlanc is very impersonal. So it'd be nice if we could see some of that happening. It'd be nice if we got to see Vladimir being the one in charge, who knows more, who's more competent. Also, a thing that interests me moderately, the design on the crown around Atakan's neck here. That looks like it's demon script to me, but also I can't help but look at these shapes and shards and feel that that looks vaguely, and I'm sure, I don't know that that's, well, it could be, that's the thing. If this is like a control spell to keep Atakan under control, those three shards look suspiciously a little bit like the crown of the ruined king a little bit, don't they? Like, just a little bit, the way that they sit on top of the head like that. And that wouldn't be impossible, like Vladimir has a connection with Kamavor. And we know that the Black Rose has done extensive exploration into the Blessed Isles, or the ruined. The Shadow Isles, rather. So that's not impossible, but I don't know that that's what they're gesturing at. I just felt like that particular three-pronged shape on crowning the head felt a little bit like it was similar.
As for the might of Noxus, it won't be necessary. A single whisper can cut.
He has eyes on his chest instead of nipples! Atakan's design is so cool.
Than 1,000 blades.
Oh, he has eyes all the way down, man. That's a lot of eyes.
To Ionia, then.
Again, I don't know that I like the interplay between Vladimir and LeBlanc so much. Because, like, LeBlanc states her, like, a single word can cut deeper than 1,000 blades. And Vladimir is, like, visibly very annoyed by that. Right? He looks away and is like, oh my fucking god, this bitch. Right? He's annoyed, like, okay, fine, to Ionia, like, whatever, I'm not interested, like, he's annoyed that she seems to have a plan or a point, and he's gonna go along with it because he doesn't really have, it seems, the authority to gainsay her, right? To say, no, that's not a good idea, or explain your plan to me before I start, like, going on this. Like, he seems subservient to her in a way that, I'm just not really a fan of. Like, Vladimir, to me, as a character, really should be more Dorian Gray. Like, should be more like the louche sort of, I have lived 1,000 lives, I don't care if I die very much, sort of utterly self-obsessed, but very clever hedonist. Right? Who, like, sees most experience... Like, because that's one of the things... Like, Vladimir has a fantastic short story to his name. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like his main short story on his bio. Used to be, anyway, if they haven't changed it. Where what he does is he invites, like, a painter to his home, like a young and up-and-coming painter with a great talent. And as this painter walks through the abandoned halls of his home, like this legendary Noxian socialite who hasn't been seen in years and wonders, like, where has he been? And, like, what's happening? Why did he choose me? And all of this, like, this exciting sort of romantic fantasy on her part, more and more begins to realize, like, hey, this guy seems like there's a lot of portraits of a guy who looks just like him. That can't just be his dad, right? Like, and begins to realize just the extent of the many, many, many lives that Vladimir has led, right? And Vladimir comes to explain, it's like, yeah, no, like, I have lived forever, but I haven't lived one life forever. I haven't just been the same person forever. I change all the time. Every time I disappear, I reemerge and I make myself anew, right? And your purpose as a painter is to capture, like, memories of me, capture me as I am in this life right now before I transition into, before I emerge again and transition into a new form of myself. Like, preserve me, and then I'll eat you, right? Like, I'll drink your blood is essentially, the implication is he's gonna vampire this lady, even if Vladimir technically isn't a vampire. And so he's this character who's, like, nihilistic, but also a life lover, right? Like, someone who actually genuinely adores being alive, and who's, like, adores the sensations and the joy of adventure and having fun, right? Like, experiencing new things, becoming a new person. He has this joie de vivre, right? This joy of life that comes from consuming other people to power his own immortality, right? But not really this sort of, I don't care about this. I am not interested. I don't want to go to Ionia. This plan is stupid. Like not really this dour sort of stick in the mud. Because that's how he's acting with LeBlanc, right? He's being a stick in the mud. He's being like, oh, well, that plan doesn't work. Let's not do the thing. Let's not take the risk. Let's not... Like, he's being risk-averse. He's being conservative about it. And I really don't think Vladimir is that guy. That to me has never really been his character. So I don't really like the way they've redefined him. Either as, like, a second banana to Vladimir, or to LeBlanc, or as this rather sort of dour... doubting Thomas who says no to everything instead of saying, oh, well, that would be an interesting adventure. Like, or even like I would have liked it in this scene if he was like, oh, you're going to go through with it. Well, I'm going to come along just to see if you fail. That would be fun, right? Like if he was more of a little bit taunting, a little bit sort of egging LeBlanc on, always tempting her to go a little bit too far, always pushing her to, like, maybe make a bigger move than she's willing to do. Like, that dynamic to me would feel more like the Vladimir character I understand him to be. This feels very much like we have Astarion at home in many ways, except Astarion also has way more personality than this. Again, maybe when we get some extended scenes with Vladimir in this new form, wherever, like, maybe he'll, like, whatever the point of him is now will be revealed, and that he has more to offer than just being, like, less cool LeBlanc, like, henchman. Maybe eventually. Like, I'm not saying that this can't work ever, or that this is a failure from the start, or that the concept is bad. Just, it's not what I want from the character. And I have not yet seen them show me why I should want this version instead. Like, what is it about this version that I should want more than the one I know? Because he hasn't had a chance to show any of that off. Like, these shorts have been entirely about how cool LeBlanc is, and how much in control she is, and how dangerous, and, like, how conniving and scheming she is. And Vladimir has been a prop with which to show that off, which, not really what I would use Vladimir for, to be honest. Like, that you could do that with any henchman. It doesn't have to be Vladimir. You could do that with any henchman in the world, any advisor character in the world. It did not have to be him, but whatever. Let's see that blood animation. Because they're doing something interesting there as well. Animated on 2s, not using the same offset. Like, they're not animating parts of it on one thing, but they are sometimes animating it on 1s. Like, when he's doing the slow lift here, that's animated on 1s, and then when we get to about here, that's when they start animating it on 2s, which goes a little bit slower, and a little bit asynchronous with the movements of the 3D model, because the 3D model always moves on 1s, which is one of the things that I found... Like, that's one of the reasons why these techniques work in Arcane and in these shorts. Like, one of the reasons why they work at all is because Fortiche understands that it's often better not to end. Like, they do that sometimes. Like, they vary the animation frames of how characters move, but the 3D characters get to move on ones because they're 3D characters. That's what they're built for, right? Like, that's what 3D animation is kind of built to do. And that's what it's good at like providing that naturalistic sense of motion. And then 2D animation gets to do its own thing, right? Like, they don't animate it on ones unless they absolutely have to. Instead, they take advantage of what 2D animation can do, which is have these striking key poses in animation and have these little holds that really give that motion and that movement time to register. God, it looks good. Fortitia's so fucking good at everything. Fuck these people. Assholes. The lot of them. You're making me care about League of Legends. I've been trying not to. I'm trying to quit. You scumbags. Yeah, the way they animate this goop and slime shit, man. Oh, it rules. Look at that. Just fucking look at that, man. The way they use the camera shake also, right? Like, the way the camera is operating here is also fantastic, I think. Mostly these very static shots and camera angles, right? Like, very, very little in terms... Like, we have a slow zoom out, we have a pan, but then it's just, like, static camera angles while stuff in the frame is moving. Which is sensible, because, like, we're focused on the characters acting and sort of setting the stage in the scene, right? And it's not until LeBlanc picks up the helmet we get Atakan's point of view on her, right? We get to see her as he sees her. Right, and then right back to slow pan on Vladimir, and then, like, this medium shot of the two of them, and then Atakan just huge, trapped in the background. Like, the camera being very, very still, really not moving much until... Right, until Atakan is unleashed, and then we get camera shake, and then we get chaos, and then we get, like, this dolly zoom looking with the whole space. You can see how, like, the whole space seems to be distorting behind LeBlanc. The door seems to be getting further away. The closer he's getting to her, the door isn't getting closer to him, which again sort of indicates something about, like, the nature of this space as a prison, right? Or some kind of trap room from which there is no exit without her consent. And then when he's trapped again, camera stands still, like, stock still. And so, like, the stillness of the camera, like, Atakan is the only element in the scene that ever tries to, like, destabilize the camera, right? He's the only element in the scene that ever tries to shake the world and, like, introduce chaos, right? But there can be no chaos because the stillness of the camera is an extension of LeBlanc's control, right? Like, it's her decision about how much chaos Atakan gets to cause. So when she forces the camera to stay still again, that's another visual extension of her power, right? Like, there's another demonstration that this space is hers. She controls this calmness, this placidity, this complete being unbothered by him, being unbothered by any threat, being unbothered by the loss of her vessel, being unbothered by all of it, or her host, rather. It's all an extension of LeBlanc's power, right? Very effective cinematography. Great use of camera. Something Fortige, again, very good at. Like, they're really good at judging when the camera should be allowed to just be still and just sit there and, like, hold on a shot for a bit versus when we do rapid cutting, like when Atakan is released, right? Like, that's also when we get, like, a series of much more rapid cuts between shots, and then once she reasserts control, now all of a sudden we're holding on shots for a while. rather than quick cutting between things to indicate like. So it's just good directing, right? Like it's not magic. It's just good filmmaking. It's good directing that like the editors and the directors know how to pace the cuts in order to support what the rest of the scene is trying to say narratively. Again, I wish I didn't care about League of Legends. I really wish I could just say, oh, okay, this isn't for me anymore. But it's still for me. Look at this. All of this is for me. For me specifically. They made it for me, personally. Like, not for anyone else. Like, oh, you have hundreds of thousands of views. Who cares? This is not about them. It's about me. This is all about me. It's for me specifically. It is a poison concocted to infect my specific mind and no one else on Earth. And it's like 5, 6, 8 times elemental double type weakness. Plus critical hit. Because goddamn, I just want to see more shit that's designed like this. Like this character design for LeBlanc, right? Like I've spoken extensively about how I don't really think it works in League of Legends terms. I don't think it works for storytelling the character that she is on the Rift, especially not with the way she's animated. It makes more sense here. Still not completely. Like, I still have my issues with the way her character design is put together. But it works better for her when this is how she's moving, right? When LeBlanc's movement is this slow, languid, sensuous a little bit, like the way that you can see like they're doing object work with her where she's like trailing her hand over the edge of the table and just kind of idly letting it fall off the edge there as she's like approaching. Like how slow, how considered, how unhurried her movement is, right? Like she barely moves, really, much of the time. She's barely moving. And for that, like I think this complicated dress arrangement thing, it makes a certain degree more sense when the way LeBlanc is presenting herself is essentially as a statue, right? Because that's very much what she is. Like, that's even what her posing is kind of implying here. That makes a little bit more sense with this character design than the way they're posing and animating her in League of Legends itself. I could still criticize it, but like this makes more sense to me instinctively. Whereas again, Vladimir, like, baby, when did your fashion get so boring? When did you become so basic? That's just a fucking velvet housecoat. Like, watch some Castlevania or something. Like, come on. Crib a little bit from Dracula, if you're going to be such a vampire. Like, steal some fashion notes from Ayumi Kojima, or fucking Yoshitaka Amano, if that, like fucking watch Vampire Hunter D, or something, instead of this utterly sedate, really undersaturated black and red arrangement of, like, look at that. Like, he has all these fucking straps across his chest like that, like sort of crisscrossing back and forth leather straps, and it's not sexy at all. It's not horny. It's not even a little bit horny. It looks like he's wearing fucking leather armor underneath the coat. Why would he do that? If you're gonna make him wear leather straps, make it sexier than this, man. Make it horny. Make it hedonistic. Make it seductive or, like, fucked up or attention-grabbing or interesting in some way, instead of just... Like, he's got these designs running up his collar, which look like the fucking flame designs you would get airbrushed on the spoiler of, like, a really shitty muscle car owned by a teenager. It's like, what the hell? Come on. Like, Vladimir, you used to serve more cunt than this. This is too sedate. This is too chill. This is too normal bad guy stuff. Too predictable. Where's the flamboyancy? Where's the wildness? Where's the queerness of him, frankly? Like, Vladimir always had a little bit of that, like, not a lot, but a little bit of that, like sort of classic villain queer coding thing going on. That's just gone now. Like, he doesn't look straight, but he sure as fuck doesn't look queer either. Yeah. I mourn that a little bit, but that's me. That's me being an old, old head. Sitting here like, oh, well, back in my day when the models only had 5 polygons, all their character designs were better. They were not better. A lot of them were a lot worse. But I know, it's me, old man, complaining, whatever, who cares? This is probably not for me anymore, but as long as it's animated like this, man. Like, so long as they let Fortige do shit like this fucking flattening projection focus effect just to show how powerless Atakan is. As long as they let Fortige do shit like this, I'm never gonna be free. Never, never, ever. God, that's such a fucking cool effect. That is genuinely so fucking cool. Like, literally, fucking, they're flattening him. They're making him 2-dimensional to diminish his power in a 3-dimensional space. That's so clever. What a fantastic way to visually show entrapment. That's fucking visionary. That's some Wachowski sisters shit to come up with that. Like, really using the space of visual effects that are available in 3D animation. Like, to manipulate the focus like that. I'm not saying Wachowski sisters for no reason. Like, something about the way they are playing with focus and playing with, like, planes of perspective and dimensionality. It does a little... there's a little bit of Speed Racer in there. A little bit. Like, the way that movie is so playful about the way it arranges, like, physical space. The way it plays with 2-dimensionality. I should watch Speed Racer again. That's a really cool movie. Anyway, just fucking look at this. Like, fucking... This is so fucking cool. Yeah, fuck you, Atakan. You're a rear projection. You have no power. You're a flat image on a screen, right? Ceci n'est pas un demon. Get Rene Margreted, loser. Get reduced to the treachery of images. Speaking of that effect, by the way, you notice how this is the first shot where they drop it? Right? This is the first shot where they drop that effect, where they're no longer doing the rear projection, where Atakan gets to be a 3-dimensional presence in the space. And it's only after he has been soundly defeated, right? It's only after LeBlanc has literally put a collar on him, right? That's when he gets to stop being a flat projection and exist in the space a little bit, and then only as a trophy, right? Only as an extension of LeBlanc's power, only as a reaffirmation of her control, does he get to enjoy 3-dimensionality for just a second. I wish League of Legends was good. I really do. I wish it was good. I wish it was just good. That would be nice. That would be nice. Riot Games, fucking cancel the gacha shit, you fucking morons. It's gonna kill the entire aesthetic of your entire product. Inevitably. But you won't, because it's gonna make money the whole time it's dying. Anyway, I think that's enough cynicism from me. I have a Patreon merchandise store and stuff. I'll put the merchandise store up on screen, as I usually do. There it is. It's on the link in the description. You can buy shirts with things on them, and also pins, and also stickers, and mugs, and more mugs, and additional mugs, and also shirts. That's most of what there is shirts and mugs and stickers. With cool stuff on them. They're good shirts. I have them. I wear the shirts myself, and put them on my body. To enjoy them, because I like wearing them. Yeah. Give me money for that. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you. Bye.